Hello and good morning. Well, I don't know. I said that because technically it could be evening or midday or afternoon or whenever you are watching this video. So disregard that, but hope you're having a good day. Welcome to the Big Dumb Networking Dude channel. And today we are going to pick up where we left off previously, which is we just installed Cisco Secure Firewall Virtual FTDv on a Proxmox server. And today we're going to just get it up and running and pass in some simple traffic. We're not going to dive too deep. We're just going to keep it very top level. I will say that this is not exclusive to installing on Proxmox. So if you have this on even GNS3, bare metal, it doesn't really matter. This setup is going to work the same. But before we hop into the config, we are going to take a quick look at the overall architecture and then get right into it. Here is the architecture. Nothing has changed since the other day. I do love to tinker in my lab, but not that much. So we do have the FTDv installed on our Proxmox. We do have our Ubuntu host, which we are using to get to the FTDv's GUI. And what we're going to do is allow this machine to talk out to the internet. So it's going to follow this Access VLAN 99 path straight to the MX75. I already have the gateway on the MX75, the 10.99.991 configured, and we will be doing the initial configuration on the firewall itself. So pretty straightforward, should be pretty easy. So let's hop over to the web console of Proxmox and get into it. In our Proxmox web console, let's go ahead and get into our Ubuntu jump server. We'll console into that. I'll try to make this bigger here. Let's go full screen. So I do apologize for this weird view. Typically I would VNC into something like this, but due to how my lab is currently configured, I don't have any way to get into this Ubuntu machine unless I am consoling in through Proxmox. So I can't use a native VNC client. So first thing, let's just verify that we cannot get out to the internet. So let's just try to ping Google by IP. All right, that is as expected. Let's try to ping it by name, just to double confirm that. It's thinking. All right, yep, that's going to fail too. So, but what I am going to do, I'm going to try to keep a continuous ping going as we are going through this. It'll be in the background, and then that way we can see when connectivity is actually established. So we'll get that going. Let's get logged into our firewall here. Cool. So we're in. It is ready to be set up for its first time config, and as the old adage goes, there are multiple ways to skin a cat.
You are a sick man.
There are multiple ways to go about this. So we can use the wizard. We could go through and configure everything manually. I mean, if we wanted to, we could probably run a little Python script that could romp through and get this configured, but for this example, we're gonna actually use the wizard because it's easy and pretty intuitive. So let's go through that. Right here, we're gonna start by configuring our outside interface, and I do want to make a quick note right here that as we go through this, it will automatically create a rule to allow outbound traffic, so trusted outbound traffic from internally, so that it can do its SmartNet and other things. So that rule will get created, and we'll be able to take a look at that here in a minute. But so for the outside interface, for mine, I want to do this manually. And as we saw in our diagram, we are going to make this 10.999.2. And I think, oh man, I don't remember what I made this. I think it might be a /29, which is 248, I think, maybe. All right, whatever, it's fine. 10.99.99.1 is the gateway. I do not want IPv6. We're only doing IPv4 on this, so hit next. And during this time, as you can see there at the bottom, it is making changes and saving, and it is going to deploy those changes to the firewall. So we will just sit here and wait patiently. Cool. So it is, that configuration went through. It looks like we do have connectivity to our gateway and the DNS server. So now we just need to set up our time. Let's see. I am America, Detroit. What is that? -5. Jeez, I'm going all over the place on this thing. What am I doing? New York. New York's fine. That works. Default. Yeah, we'll go ahead and use these NTP servers for right now. Hit next. We're saving those settings. So next, do we want to license this thing? For this being a lab environment, and for most environments like this, if you're deploying in Proxmox, continuing with the evaluation would be the way to go. I do actually have some licenses, so I could point this to my smart account, but I'm not going to do that at this point in time. And as you can see, it does show how many cores and how many gigs we have here, so I think it will automatically recommend the FTDv 30. So that is what we will go with, and we will say finish here. All right, and then now we're kind of ready to go. It's ready to be configured, and we have the option to do this cloud managed through CDO or through standalone. For this, I am going to do standalone. I will also note that I do have a CDO account, so that might be something here in the future that I make a video on, is, you know, getting this managed through CDO. But for this, we're going to do, it's a standalone device. So we do have the initial gateway set up. We do have, let's look at our route. We should have a default route pointing to that gateway IP. Cool. So that is all in place. We do need to, however, go in and configure our inside interface, which our Ubuntu machine is going to be talking to. So this one right here is our inside, and we need to set that to 10.222.222.1 because that is the default gateway for that one. So let me, stupid screen, scroll over here. We're going to edit this. And when you are editing a static thing, this does come with a DHCP server already kind of attached to this interface. So you can go ahead, unless you're, I guess, using this IP pool or this IP space and you want to use this pool of addresses, just go ahead and whack that. Yep, we're going to say okay to that. And then we are going to configure this, so that will be 10.222.222.1, and we'll hit OK. And since we did make these changes, we do need to deploy them. They does not just automatically deploy, so let's go ahead and get this deployed now. Let's look at policies real quick. And as you can see, as part of that initial, if I can get my screen to move, as part of this initial configuration, there was a rule to allow outbound traffic, basically an any to be able to get outbound. So that was automatically put in here. Obviously, if this was a not a lab environment, or really maybe even a lab environment, we're going to want to lock those down, maybe only allow the only services that we need outbound, 80, 443, maybe some DNS and time. But for right now, just for this video, I'll go ahead and just leave these as is. This is still as expected, so that's good. We still don't have any access. There we go. Now we're ready to deploy it. Okay, let's deploy that. Got a little ahead of ourselves. There. So that's deploying, and that might take a minute or two.
Now we play the waiting game.
Wow. That took a bit to deploy, but hey, that's all right. So our changes have been deployed, and look at that. We are now getting replies from Google. So that is awesome. Let's see if we can do it by name resolution now. Sweet. And let's see, let's just do a little extra verification. I mean, we know this is working, but let's go over to my Meraki firewall and take a look at the logs there and see what we got passing through there. So let's see what we got for 10.99.99.2. Sweet. And we do have communication out as expected. So yeah, it looks like we're rocking and rolling. So that pretty much is it when it comes to getting this thing set up. Again, very basically, very basic configuration. We're not doing any kind of intrusion, inspection, a bunch of other stuff that this firewall is capable of. We just wanted to get communication outbound. Once again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful or insightful, feel free to throw a like or a subscribe in there, or don't. That's cool too. It's not gonna hurt my feelings any. So what's next? So I do actually have to do a firewall SD-WAN lab config for a customer. So I might make a video on that as I'm going through it. I also have another customer who's looking at doing some stuff with Catalyst Center, and I might attempt to install Catalyst Center on Proxmox. That might be a little insane, but hey, that's what this channel's about. We might try it out, and if I do that, I'll definitely document and record that. But also, if you guys have anything you want to see, throw it in the comments. Let me know. I will say I do have pretty decent access to the Cisco portfolio as a whole. So if it's something along those lines, I can do that pretty easily. But yeah, just let me know. And in the meantime, stay classy out there.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!